Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into a book that really truly changed the game for how a lot of people think about money and wealth.
Yeah, a big one.
We are talking about Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
Yeah.
Robert T. Kiyosaki. Came out back in 1997. Sort of a classic in personal finance, self-help, about 200 pages, give or take.
And the core idea, it's really about this contrast, right, between two father figures in Kiyosaki's life.
Yeah.
There's his actual dad, who he calls Poor Dad, very educated, worked for the government, thought traditionally about money.
Okay.
And then there's his best friend's dad, the rich dad, an entrepreneur, self-made guy, didn't even finish school, interestingly enough.
Wow, quite the difference.
Exactly. And it's all about their totally different philosophies on finance.
So our goal here today, our mission, is really to unpack that.
Yeah.
How these, really different views on money, work, success, how they come across through his stories.
Do the anecdotes, yeah.
And figure out what key lessons you can maybe pull from it for your own financial thinking.
And it's not just for, like, hardcore entrepreneurs.
No, definitely not. It's aimed at anyone interested in financial literacy. Students, employees, people thinking about starting something. Anyone, really. Okay, so let's dive in. The foundation. Kiyosaki kicks things off with a, pretty bold statement.
Yeah, it definitely grabs your attention.
He says, the lack of money is the root of all evil. Which is kind of flipping a common phrase on its head.
Right. And what he's getting at fundamentally is the importance of financial education.
Okay.
He argues pretty strongly that the traditional school system, it teaches us academic stuff, professional skills, sure, but it completely misses teaching us how money actually works.
Like the practical mechanics of it.
Exactly. So financial literacy isn't just nice to have. He frames it as, like, essential, crucial for getting any kind of financial independence.
Which leads right into probably one of the most famous ideas from the book, assets versus liabilities.
Oh, yeah. This is central.
He puts it very starkly. The rich buy assets. The poor only have expenses. The middle class buys liabilities they think are assets.
And his definitions here are super simple, almost brutally simple.
Okay, break it down.
An asset puts money into your pocket. Think rental properties, stocks that pay dividends, maybe a business that runs itself.
Got it. Puts money in.
A liability takes money out of your pocket. So car loans, credit card debt, mortgages. Even the house you live in, he often argues, is a liability because of taxes, maintenance, all that.
Right, the ongoing costs.
The core message is just crystal clear. If you want to build wealth, you have to focus on acquiring income-generating assets, not things that drain your cash.
That thinking ties into this concept of the rat race. Can you describe that a bit?
Sure. The rat race is basically the cycle most people get stuck in. Work hard, earn money, pay bills, maybe buy some stuff.
Run out of money?
And then you have to work even harder next month just to cover everything, maybe keep up with the neighbors. It's that endless loop.
Just chasing your tail, basically.
Yeah, precisely. And Kiyosaki says the way out isn't necessarily just working harder in your job.
No.
It's about changing your mindset, thinking differently. And crucially, investing wisely so your money starts working, not just you.
Okay, that's a big shift. And it connects to another key idea. Work to learn, not to earn. He says, don't work for money, make money work for you. What's a practical meaning behind that?
Well, it's not necessarily saying quit your job tomorrow. It's more about the purpose of your work, especially early on.
Okay.
He really pushes readers to seek out jobs or experiences that teach valuable skills. Skills you can use later to build your own businesses or investments.
Like what kind of skills?
Things like sales, marketing, understanding accounting, maybe basic legal stuff, investing itself. He talks about taking low-paying jobs just to learn a specific skill, like overcoming fear of rejection in sales.
Ah, so the learning is the real paycheck in a way.
In a sense, yes. It's about building your financial intelligence, your know-how, not just collecting a wage.
Which logically leads to another principle, minding your own business, even while you might be working a regular 9-to-5.
Exactly. This one causes some confusion sometimes. It doesn't mean literally just focusing on your tasks at work.
Right, it's broader.
It means dedicating real time and energy to building your own asset column, your own financial future.
How, though, if you have a demanding job?
It could be starting small. A side business, maybe investing in some stocks or a rental property if you can. The point is to be building something that belongs to you, that generates income independently of your job.
So it's about creating your own financial engine on the side.
That's a great way to put it. Building your own engine.
Okay, but doing all this buying assets, starting something new, It involves risk, right?
Yeah.
And fear. He addresses that too.
Oh, definitely. Overcoming fear and taking risks is a huge part of it. He points out, quite rightly, that the fear of losing money paralyzes so many people.
It keeps them in the safe path, even if it's not getting them where they want to go.
Precisely. And Kiyosaki's take isn't about being reckless. It's not about gambling.
No.
It's about taking calculated risks. Understanding that failure isn't the end, it's actually part of the learning process. You have to be willing to make mistakes, learn from them, and not let fear stop you from trying.
So manage the fear, learn from mistakes, take smart risks.
That's the essence of it. Growth rarely happens inside your comfort zone, especially financial growth.
Okay, the book obviously struck a chord. Millions of copies sold. Let's talk strengths. What makes it so appealing?
Well, first off, it's just really accessible. He takes potentially complex financial ideas and makes them, easy to grasp.
No jargon, really.
Very little. And it's incredibly motivational. People read it and feel inspired, like, okay, I need to rethink how I'm doing things. The storytelling helps too. Using the two dads, the personal anecdotes makes it relatable, engaging.
You feel like you're learning through his experiences.
Right. And the biggest strength, arguably, is that mindset shift it encourages, pushing you towards thinking like an entrepreneur, like an investor, even if you've never considered it before.
Okay, but it's not without criticism. Let's be balanced. What are some common knocks against it?
Sure. And it's important to look at those. A big one is that it's heavy on philosophy, but pretty light on concrete how-to steps.
Like, it tells you what to do, but not exactly how to do it.
Yeah, you won't find detailed investment strategies or business plans. Some also find it a bit repetitive. He hammers home the core messages quite a few times.
Okay. Repetitive, light on specifics. What else?
There's the controversial financial advice aspect.
Ah, right. Can you give an example of what people find controversial?
Definitely. A classic one is his very strong stance on debt, particularly using debt like mortgages for real estate investing. And his view that your personal home is almost always a liability.
Because it takes money out.
Right. But critics say, look, leveraging lots of debt can be super risky, especially if you're just starting out. And, for many people, home equity is a major part of their net worth, even if it costs money month to month. So that advice isn't universally accepted.
Any controversies?
There have also been questions raised over the years about whether Rich Dad was, a real single individual or maybe more of a composite character, kind of built to illustrate the lessons.
Okay, the authenticity question.
Yeah. And just to be really clear for everyone listening, our aim here is just to lay out what's in the book and how it's been received. We're not endorsing or dismissing any specific advice, especially the controversial bits, or taking a stance on the authenticity, just presenting the ideas.
Understood. Full transparency on the source material and its reception.
Exactly.
So, wrapping things up then, how should we view Rich Dad, Poor Dad overall?
I think it's fair to call it a truly foundational book in, popular financial education.
Yeah, it feels like a starting point for many people.
Absolutely. But its real power, its core value, isn't as a step-by-step investment manual.
Oh.
It's in shifting your mindset, your whole perspective on money, on work, on what wealth even means. That's where it shines. It's a mental reset.
I totally agree. It's excellent for jarring you out of conventional thinking. So who is it really best for?
Definitely beginners in personal finance, young professionals just starting to think about this stuff. Anyone really who feels stuck in that paycheck-to-paycheck cycle and wants a different way to think about things.
Yeah, a good first step to open your eyes. So
Yeah.
based on our deep dive into the source, we landed on a rating of 8.5 out of 10.
Sounds right. Captures the impact and the caveats. So reflecting on all this, Kiyosaki's ideas about mindset, about facing fear, about taking calculated risks, it really raises a key question for you, the listener.
Okay.
If that kind of growth requires stepping out, learning from risks, what's one small, tangible, maybe even tiny learning step you could take this week? Something to start like minding your own business in a new way. Could be learning a skill, researching an asset type. Just one small step.
That's a great challenge. Something concrete to think about.